I'm going to show you how to make the wire edging of your skirt when you're doing like maybe a pageant dress, or you want to get this nice wiring on the bottom of your skirt. I'm going to show you how to do that. For this project, you're going to need the center section of a roll of tissue paper, just a basic little cone here. You're going to need your chiffon fabric. You're also going to need some fishing line, and it needs to be 80 pound because you want the nice thick, so make sure it's the 80 test pound. And of course you're going to need your scissors. So we're going to start off by taking our spool or our little cone that came out of the tissue, and we're going to take our fishing line. You're going to take a piece of tape and you're going to tape the end of the fishing line. You're going to tape it to the top half of the cone, just like that. So what you're going to do now is you're going to roll your fishing line onto the cone. You got to kind of keep it in place. You're just going to keep rolling it until you completely fill the cone. Now I'm using this cone because it's a little wider. The wider the base that you use to wrap your fishing line on, the wider or the more spread out your ruffles are going to be. If you use a skinny item like a spool like this, then you're going to have really small curlicues. So you have to decide how wide you want your curlicues to be. So like I said, we're just going to keep winding this off and make sure, as you can see, that they're just lining up one behind the other. And I'm just going to follow this all the way out till I finish winding the spool onto the cone. Now the amount that you use is going to be based on the size of your project, so you'll have to kind of measure your project and just kind of see. You may just want to play around with it. You can always make extra because, you know, if you don't use it, you can wind it back on here and save it for later. So let's finish winding this all the way around. As you can see, I'm about I guess about a third of the way finished. I'm about halfway finished with winding my spool. Now if you have a dress that's really full or multiple layers, you could use the center of a paper towel roll because it's a lot longer, and that way you can wind all of your fishing line on there. So we're going to finish this out all the way to the end. I've almost finished winding my fishing line onto my cone. So I'm just getting just up to the end here. And now that I've gotten to the top, I'm going to cut it. Get that out of the way. And I'm just going to wind this up. Make sure when you're winding your fishing line that you don't overlap the fishing line on top of another. You want one single line, one behind the other. And now I'm going to add, I'll take a piece of tape and I'm going to tape it so it doesn't come undone. And this is what you want your finished product to look like. So you're going to take this and you're going to pop this in the microwave for about 10 seconds. Okay, now I've taken mine out of the microwave, and you want to let it completely cool. And the purpose for putting it in the microwave is because you want the fishing line to get warm, just not too hot, but just warm. Because what will happen is, by it getting warm, it will shape or mold to the cone. And when you take it off, it'll be the size, each of your curlicues will be the size of the cone. So now that it has completely cooled, we're ready to move on to the next part of the project. Okay, so let's go back to our fishing line now. It's time to take it off. So you just want to peel off one of your pieces of tape. And notice what happens after you peel it off. You got all these little rings. So let's undo the top part where the tape is here. And you can save this little cone because you can use it again later on something else. So now this is what you end up with once you're done, once you've got your you've molded it by putting it in the microwave. So this is what you have now. For the sake of showing you, so everything can show up on camera, I'm using white thread so you can see what I'm doing. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab the end of it. You're going to take your skirt, you're going to put it up under the edge, and you're going to put it up under the presser foot, and you're going to use a zigzag stitch, and you're going to zigzag over, and you're just going to pretty much follow this same pattern, just zigzagging over. So now you're just zigzagging over the fishing line. And see, as you see what happens as you zigzag over it, see what's happening, what effect you're getting. Here we've got all of the fishing lines sewn in. So now what we're going to do is, you see these edges, so we're going to go around and just trim this edge off all the way around. I trimmed all the excess edges off of the edge of the skirt where I had zigzagged. I just cut off the excess. Make sure when you're cutting the excess that you don't cut your zigzag stitches, because it'll come loose. But as you can see, and there, if this was a real skirt, there would have been our nice little curly bottom on the skirt. And like I said, the curlier you make it, or the smaller you make your base that you're going to wrap your fishing line around, the curlier your skirt's going to be. But as you can see, there's that curly cue that you see on the bottom of all those cute little pageant dresses. And I put this skirt on top of my my baby's Raggedy Ann doll, because I wanted you to see, like I said, this was just a scrap sample, but I wanted you to see the curliness on the bottom of the skirt. And there you can see the curly cues on the bottom of the skirt.